VigilanteWilliamson here on the third episode of the Clueless Anti-Football Pussies. That's what that cat is in the thing, and I'll explain that in a second. We're not we can be pussies because we ain't playing football. We talk about people who do and the past and whatever the hell else we end up talking about. I'm here with my partner in anti-football pussy, Matt from Fireball Productions. How you doing, man?
I am well, sir. How are you?
Doing okay. Doing all right. Doing pretty good.
Man.
So I kind of said this right before we started, and hopefully some people show up. I don't know what's going on with this channel, but this channel was like the golden child of the two channels as far as engagement. And like when I did put out a video, particularly if it's about boxing, I was pretty much guaranteed at least 100 views. And my last couple videos since I've started ramped up streaming have not quite done as well. And I mean, you hear all the stuff about streaming algorithms, like the more you stream, the more it may affect other content because you don't get the same amount of watch hour percentage and all that other good stuff.
I think what you're supposed to do is unlist your
that was the thing.
Streams.
Unlist the live streams. Yeah,
that's what they say. And I was thinking about this exact thing. I'm glad you brought this up because I was thinking literally just about this right before we went on the air, and it was like I was just thinking about like my live streams and how I put stuff out and all that, and I was like, yo, I never just come across a random live stream ever.
Yeah, me neither.
Never. I never see that in my algorithm ever.
I see live streams from content creators I follow.
Yeah, people I'm sub to, certainly.
But I don't see random people that I don't follow live ever. No. I see clips, I see videos, but I never see full live streams. That's a good point. I don't think this platform still likes live streaming after all these years.
So. And I think they've changed their algorithm to almost kind of like squish it down, subdue it.
Exactly. And that's what I was thinking. And that's kind of also why there's a cat instead of spelling out pussies, just in case that's messing with it. I'm like, wait a second. The only thing that's changed is I'm doing more live streaming on this channel. And now my regular videos are starting to drop off. So I'm like, okay, what about it is wrong? So I'm like, all right, keep it shorter. Maybe that'll help. Maybe the non-graphic language in the title helps. I don't know. It's not graphic, it was edited, but maybe that's like something to have in their algo. So if it's like this, that still means this, so you're still fucked. So I'm not sure.
I don't really know either, but I definitely think like there's something, I don't know, there's something to it. Like I still think it's just more about videos than it is about live streaming. Live streaming is just like the fun time and the work of the videos.
Like, I think they're still helpful for, we got shout out to Cincha Dildo, Jake D, Mike DeCarlo. It's helpful for engagement of audience.
Yeah.
But this is still a video and now clips because of the shorts thing. That still is what pushes the algorithm. So
I think so. I really think so because, I feel like my views are about the same every single show. And I haven't really been putting out videos and it's like I haven't grown the audience. So I would imagine that that's more what has to do with it. And it wasn't like as much as it's like, I do think there's like because I see my subs go up and down. So I'm like, that's so weird. What the fuck is that?
Same here.
Yeah, like that's insane. It's just like, and it's like it seems like it's a lock. Like it just keeps you at the same spot. But like that one thing that just hit me, just that I've never just come across a live stream of people that I don't follow or I'm subscribed to ever.
And to be fair, I actually used to. Like there was a time a few years ago, I came across Tim Pool because it was a live stream showing up. Like massive creators, I guess, that were like related to things I watched. You would have occasionally come up across their live stream. At least I did. Because there's, like I said, the first time I'd ever heard of Tim Pool, I never knew who he was. His live stream just was on, and I just watched it because it was.
Like if I go to my YouTube homepage right now, I see our show that we're on right now.
Yeah.
Kill Tony is a premiere. Yeah. They have 63,000 people watching.
Oh wow,
it's crazy. That's why we're not doing so great. It's because of them. And then in the left, I have like my subscriptions. It's got all the people going live right now, which is quite a few. Geeks and Gamers, Steel Toe Morning Show, Tom, the other Geeks and Gamers other channel, Nerdporial, Lorena.
Yeah, I saw that. Congrats on Nerdporial. Just made 3K. I saw that.
Oh, good for him. That's rad.
Yeah.
Way to go. But yeah, like, and then but if I scroll like the videos, like I literally only see like videos and people that I'm subscribed to. There's nothing else. If I click on live, then maybe you're going to see some other stuff. Like that's different, if you're looking for live streams, but who does
I don't think people do that. Yeah, I don't think that's what people do, especially for this platform. I still think people go to Twitch before they go to YouTube for streaming.
Yeah.
And even though I feel like it's easier to stream on this platform, like I've done both, and I'm streaming on Kick, not this stream because I don't know how to set up through StreamYard, but and I always get more people on YouTube if I simul stream, but at the same time, this platform doesn't push. So I don't know.
Ew.
Yeah, what's the ew for?
I was like scrolling through like the live streams, and there's just one sleep stream first time. Ew, look at this. It's just some fucking dude. This is disgusting.
Gay.
How many viewers do we have right now?
5.
He has more. He has more than we do.
How do more people like? It's a dude sleeping. Like
it's
I'm not saying
dude.
It's cool to
like ew.
What is ass to us? Like what the hell? Sheesh.
Look, he's just literally just sleeping. He's been doing it for a few hours. It's live, and there's 9 people watching it.
Fuck him.
Ew.
It's not better than us.
No, just ew, gross. But I just like that's just so weird. But I think that makes sense. It's like I'm looking at all these live streams, right? On the live page, there's so many. Like Tim is live. Tim Cast, Tim Pool.
Yeah,
Tim's so cool. And a bunch of. But I'm like, I don't want to click on any of it. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know you guys. Look, I'm just gonna click on your live stream. Like, and if you don't catch me immediately, like I'm out.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just kind of like an engagement. Just think of it from your perspective of how
it's
do you
only
engage.
For the fans of something. Like live streams on this platform are only for people who are already a fan of the thing,
which does make sense. But also just from a fan point of view, it makes more sense.
Yeah, it does. And so I'm still trying to grow. Like I said, this channel was the golden child. It always did at least 100 views. My last couple of views, I did a video on Errol Spence. What you would think of controversial. I said Errol Spence should retire. I'm thinking, oh yeah, this will get people, to watch 1 view, 2 views.
So essentially, Dodo saying Matt's gonna light up the internet with his Barbie Longman review.
Oh yeah, because as we found out, we were lied to and manipulated.
Motherfucker.
Jeez.
I didn't even because I remember that was like in the back of my head where I'm like, okay, keep an open mind here. Like when I'm watching this movie, you know what I mean? I'm like, just keep an open mind, see what see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, what did Senjin Dildo see in this? Like, and all these girls who loved it, like maybe there's something more to this.
Yeah.
So I was genuinely trying to keep an open mind. And there were things that like, I was like, oh, that's good. That's kind of funny. Those sets are incredible. But I was like, when it was over, I was like, oh, that was evil.
Yeah.
I just witnessed evil. And then I just popped on just like real quick as I was getting ready to like brush my teeth and get ready to go to bed. And I saw you streaming and I saw him in the chat. I was like, this motherfucker right here. What are you talking about? That was good. And he never even seen it.
That pisses me off. What a douche. What a douche. And you know what gave him validity is at the time there was this Ken is the real hero thing. And like if you watch it from a certain lens, it's actually a good movie and it's kind of it makes fun. And he leaned into that. And so I'm like, oh man. One thing that is dope though, Jake D got Aerosmith tickets. So
sick.
Pretty good. And hell, Human Economy. Are you subbed to the other channel? I don't know if you are. Well, maybe you are. You just like, I don't care about you playing Spider-Man. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. So you watch reviews.
I mean, that's all I did. And that's all I ever planned on doing.
Yeah.
But I like, that was a great troll. Don't get me wrong. That's an epic troll. That's even better than the time he made that guy, what's his, John Wayne Drinks SJW Tears made us play the Tom McDonald song. That was a good one. Got me on a super chat. Excellent. That was a good troll. This is the best troll ever. But I did genuinely want to see it because of all the like even like someone like Chrissy Mayer was like, it's not that bad. People are kind of making it
Yeah,
up.
you did hear that.
Yeah. And so I was like, all right, maybe it's not that bad. It is. It's worse than I thought. I was shocked. It needs study, like because it was a huge hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it needs to be dissected. It's dangerous. Like it's
Yeah.
really toxic. Like I was like, it was bad. By the end, I was like unnerved.
Really?
Yeah.
This movie made, I said, $1 billion. Apparently, it's closer to $2 billion.
Wow.
This was one of the biggest hits of the year. Probably going to be the biggest hit of the year.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm gonna jump into this with both feet. I have like, I don't know, 25 pages of notes or something.
Golly.
Every time I just kept thinking of things and just kept writing it down, and I just like scribbling as I was watching. Like it took me so long to watch the movie because I had to keep pausing and writing down my notes. So I think I'm going to watch it again one more time without taking notes just to kind of really absorb it. And then I'm just going to jump in and dissect it. I have some really interesting ideas. I'm definitely going to play some Patrice O'Neal clips throughout it to kind of, but it's like, it's mighty in what it's trying to accomplish, but it's like, that's why it's so dangerous. Like it's really, because it's like effective in some of it, but I have to really kind of settle my thoughts on it. But that review will be coming. That's my next big project.
Okay, cool, man. Cool. Yeah. Good luck. Good luck. I'm scared off of projects because of what we just talked about with the views and everything.
Yeah.
And Mr. Now you're Mr. F to the human Okami, who we still don't know who he is, but we appreciate him being here.
What up?
And I was fascinated by the online discussion surrounding Barbie as a motivated psyop. It was a fascinating online discussion. And that's what gave him credence. And that's what I was like, oh man, because I kept hearing, I had heard, you aren't Ken enough, huh? Yeah, I kept hearing, Ken is the real hero. Ken is the real protagonist. And
well, he kind of is.
Into that. He said he kind of is.
For a little while, he's the hero. Like it dawned on me, like as I'm watching it, because it's like she's just perfect, and Ken's the one with something to accomplish. He wants Barbie's attention really badly, and he can't get it. And so you all of a sudden you're identifying with Ken because Ken is the hero that has something that they can't get, that they want. And so before you're introduced to Barbie's dilemma, so even just from a script writing point of view, like that's ineffective. Like it does make Ken more sympathetic to begin with, which is bad writing, because now we're not really concerned with our hero's journey yet. They do try to give her one, but it's almost like the message was like, just be as average and basic as you can, and there's no such thing as love. It's really broken.
It's a terrible
like,
message.
It was sick. Yeah.
Man, not to go full culture crown fires and dissect this instead of the football stuff, but like that is a thing that holds true on a lot of like feminist media, like where I get the idea of, at least I think I do, maybe I'm mansplaining, but okay, you want to validate, hey, you're good enough as you are, you don't have to do whatever, but it ends up coming across like, no, just you don't have to improve in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Like it's trying to accomplish this like a female equivalent of a Atta girl, or you know what I mean, but instead it accomplishes like this narcissism where you don't have to change anything, you're perfect as you are. Instead of,
it's also kind of communistic too, because it brings everyone down to a lower level. Instead of letting someone like Barbie be beautiful and that be something that we all like revile her, no, what's the word, whatever, like her for, we all need to kind of be at the exact same level. It's really weird. And it's weird how much girls like latched onto it too, because it's acting like it's in favor of women, but like if Barbie and Greta Gerwig have their way, they're literal tyrants.
Oof.
Like they locked out Ken from the election. Like he comes in and installs the patriarchy, and they all, by the way, every man in this movie refers to the patriarchy as the patriarchy, which is like, it's a feminist concept. It's not something that like existed. Like there weren't like European kings who were like, isn't this patriarchy great? Like that's just a thing that came out of critical theorists in college. It's not like a real thing. But they refer to it as that. And now patriarchy. And it's funny because like Ken actually is pretty sympathetic. Like even when he goes to Barbie Land and makes it Ken Land, he still wants Barbie's, like he still desires her approval. He's going about it in this different way, but like Ken's entire existence is to get Barbie's approval. So even when he's being bad, you empathize with him because it's like he really just is trying so hard to get her her love. So then like they install patriarchy and they want to build a wall.
Okay, we get it.
So like ham, it's not even worth getting mad at. It's so ham-fisted. You're like, oh, cringe. But then like they what they do is they stir up all the Kens so that they fight each other. And while they're fighting each other, they go to the Supreme Court and reinstall the Barbie regime.
Wait, there's a Supreme Court in Barbie Land? This sounds horrible. Now I kind of want to see it. Like, okay, maybe I do need to see this thing.
But that's a coup. What they did. That's you know what I mean? That's like installing a dictator.
This can't be what
It legitimately is installing a dictator because she was a tyrant. She at one point says, like, when she brings the humans back to Barbie Land, they like ask, where does Ken sleep? And she's like, I don't know. Like, that's how little regard Kens have in this world. They might not even have accommodations. They may sleep on the beach. You don't know. It's never even answered. Yeah. So it's like, she's a literal tyrant. The entire world is built for her. And then when that gets taken from her, she does a military coup to install Barbie Land back as the supreme ruler of this dystopian hell.
Wow.
I'm not exaggerating any of that. That's how the movie plays out.
Wow. That cannot be what grandmothers and mothers who were taking their little girls thought they were going to see. There's no way that is.
That's what I mean. It was like literally disturbing. It was almost like we need to take the world by force and subjugate the men was, I think, the thesis.
Jesus. Now I see why there were so many but that also kind of works when the people had the red pilled view. Like, this is like some cautionary tale, or this is
it's like a tragedy, really. Yeah. It's like Ken never gets what he wants. And it's like, he just has like the most basic, I'm Ken, and that's enough. But that's it. That's all he gets. He doesn't get Barbie. He doesn't get any agency in this world. There's still this autocracy over the Kens. They have no influence. They have no seat in government. They're not allowed to even vote. Like, even at the end, the black president, he goes, can I be on the Supreme Court? No, of course not. And then it's just like, he gets like some menial position in the government. That's the most the Kens can have. 0 political office are they allowed.
Wow.
It's like worse than I can't even, like, it's true.
Like some
it's like
Jim Crow for men type thing, basically.
Yeah. But even black people held office in this country. Like, it was so crazy. Like, it was worse. Like a racial, like a gender
apartheid for men. Basically.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Like, it got so bad at the end that like I was disturbed.
So now I got to see. Now that I know what I'm looking for, like, okay, I have to see this introduced. This is a movie, again, that made billions of dollars at the box office. And as you describe it, I am starting to see why there was a kind of a red pilled view of this. Like,
he's the only decent. Yeah, like he's the only character that like has any, human flaws. You know what I mean? Like, he's trying super hard. Like, Barbie's flaws are physical. And the only thing, it's like, I guess just being enough, like just being a woman's enough. And at literally the last line, which I thought was so perfect, I have like all these notes written down about it, but she literally, the last thing that happens is Barbie is driven to an office by the 2 humans that are, like, now she's integrated, I guess, in the real world. And you think, you're not sure, is she getting a job? Like, what is this thing? What's happening? She goes into this office, like, why are you here? And she's like, I'm here to see my gynecologist. That's the last line of the movie.
That's extremely bizarre.
It's like, literally all that matters to them is that you have a vagina.
That's crazy.
It's insane. Like, it's so much more malicious than the quote patriarchy, because we don't just care if you have a dick. Like, you have to have, like, even if that is true, what they say, you have to have a dick and be super qualified.
Yes. Yeah. There's
you
still
can't just show up and have a dick and get like power. But what their message, their worldview is, no, show up, have a cunt, and you get power.
That's wild.
It's insane.
Human Economy says Ken just sleeps in Barbie Land. He's homeless though, more than likely, and Ken suck. Wow.
He's a serf. He's an underclass. He's a peasant. Like he's like a low caste. It's crazy. And there doesn't seem to be any self-awareness that this is how they depict it. Like it's so saying the quiet part out loud. It's like this needs to be stopped.
This is crazy, man. Now I have to see this. Now I have to see this, man.
It's disturbing.
I'm
not kidding. It's disturbing.
And I'm laughing. 1.4. It wasn't 1.5. It was 1.427 billion dollars global box office as of yesterday.
Fucking insane.
Yeah,
that's really worrisome. Honestly, that's worrisome.
It's probably gonna be the biggest movie of the year, and that's wow.
I think the biggest movie of the past few years.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously the pandemic hasn't been too many. Have we had $1 billion movie since like Endgame? Maybe not.
One of the Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's right. There was that one Spider-Man. You're right.
But even that.
Yeah.
And it was I got so many dunks. But there's like one great scene where like one scene where Barbie her feet go flat, because they're not like Barbie feet anymore. They go flat.
Mm-hmm.
Like a human's. And she's walking up these stairs and with heels on. She's like, "Oh, I would never wear heels if my feet were like this all the time." And it's like supposed to be some kind of comment on how women, heels. And it's like, A, no one makes you wear heels. It's completely a choice you make. And second, all you have to do is just Google Greta Gerwig feet. And there's like 60 pictures of her wearing heels. So you're like, yet you do. Yet you do that.
Yeah, that's another thing of women complaining on like self-inflicted things. Oh, we have to do all this. Like, no, you don't. That's all your choice.
They don't even have like a clear thesis. Like sometimes they're saying about how like men do things, but then it's also like how people. So it's which is it? Like it's not like there isn't like a clear target. It's more like what it seems to me is it's more like girls who are hot and popular and cool, like in their 20s, are suddenly not hot, popular, and cool. And they're like, wow, life's really hard. Like, that's what I think. Because it's like, this is just, it's hard to be alive. Yeah, it's a challenge.
Man, it appealed to women in a wide way. I don't know how.
Deep way, dude. Like, and I am really glad I waited so I could digest it. And because it took 2 sittings and I wrote down all the notes, like I wasn't so emotional about it. I was able to like think it through. But like my conclusion is still like this is a truly disturbing and dangerous movie.
Okay. Well, shit, we got to get that review. That's
and only because it's popular. I mean, you could put out whatever you want. I don't care. I'm not like whatever. I'm not saying like propaganda shouldn't exist. Only fucking based content. But it's like because it's so popular, that's why it's really bad.
Wow. I did not expect that for the Barbie movie.
I didn't either. I just thought it was going to be like laughably contradictory and like just woke and boring. But I was like, that is evil.
No, this is dark. This is fucking dark.
Yeah, and it's like huge, and it's huge with all these chicks, dude.
Man,
that's not good.
Not to go completely red pill. There's a reason a lot of guys are not as high on Western women as they used to be.
No.
Because it's like there's definitely an antagonistic element to the modern like feminist thing, and just it's dark. It's already an inherently dark thing. It's crazy to see that be put in this widely spread media, where now these principles. See, this is shit. We're getting into the culture war conversations we used to have, and getting into why they do still matter, even if we're not always talking about it. Because it's like. The shit you see as kids, or just fuck kids. The entertainment you see.
Don't fuck kids.
No, God, no. Please don't fuck the kids.
Please don't fuck kids.
No. But no, just the entertainment you see does impact how you view the world, especially entertainment you like, right? So when something like that is, misandry is an easy sell to women. That's why Barbie makes so much money, but there is a very like misandric energy that's causing a lot of antagonism. I keep talking about the birth rate, like it's plummeting, and it's probably worse than it's even being reported on. Our relationship status as a culture in the West is like completely fucked, And I'm not going to put all the blame on feminism, but I am going to put a lion's share of the blame on feminism. And now that now that these things are now, it's like they finally got one, right? I mean, granted, it was Barbie, but they tried.
But it's a goddamn grand. It's like the Dolphins against the Broncos, man. It was a fucking blowout.
Yeah. Well, hey,
It's
there you
like,
go, back into the football thing.
I just thought it was going to be, I didn't think it was going to be so nefarious. Like, I thought it was going to be more just like blah, blah, yak, yak. And I thought I would just dunk on their stupid ideas. I didn't think it was going to like truly be advocating for evil. It's like, whoa.
Right? Like, this isn't some equality thing. This is a literal men bad, women good. Men don't deserve anything. Sort of
thing. It would be really interesting, and I should write this down for the video, but it would be really interesting to write to see what Greta Gerwig and the other guy, Noah Baumbach, said about the January 6th insurrection, and then juxtapose that with their literal insurrection in the Barbie movie.
Well, they would say, well, we were parodying it.
No, they weren't. That was the protagonist's journey, the hero. That was not a parody. That was like a righteous action they took to get Barbie Land back. It's wild, man.
Yeah.
It's like a coup, like overthrowing the government, like without democracy.
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah. It was a violent coup. And basically, like, they staged a proxy war with the Kens.
Yeah.
So they could, behind closed doors, overthrow the government. It's a fucking coup.
Oh, shit. That's some
and it was the Supreme Court. It wasn't like the pretty girl court. They didn't call it like some cute Barbie name. They called it the Supreme Court.
Wow, that's heavy-handed too.
Yeah,
very heavy-handed. And I can see why you're like, damn it. Some girl who's 16 to 22 is going to watch this and validate it. And this validates how I think. And I'm glad it exists and continue to push a lot of that good old-fashioned liberal agenda. But like, this is the interesting part to me. Does this sell fucking Barbies? Maybe it does. But that, again, this is what I expect. I expect, okay, there's probably going to be some jokes at men's expenses. This is just going to be kind of a celebration of Barbie instead of some crazy neo-political,
communist revolution, like advocacy.
Yeah. Complete extreme feminist. Pro extreme feminist. That's nuts.
I didn't expect that. Like, I was disturbed when it was over. Shit. Not laughing, not like, I was like, that was evil. I have to do something about that.
I have to stop this. No,
yeah, like, I have to say something. That's evil.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. I haven't heard that take either. No, this is evil.
That's what I was telling people. I'm like, it's worse than what Ben Shapiro and Critical Drinker and Shadiversity say. It's worse. It's way worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't you get it? Men bad, women good always. That's further, a lot of people feel that way about society as is, man.
It's not even like do better. It's like, we're not going to give you the power to be able to like live in this society without our say so. And you will have no power. You will have no job of like authority. It's disturbing.
That's crazy to me. That's disturbing. That's like apartheid.
Yeah.
And I still create, and this is another element I don't understand. Leftist brother trying to sell me on the Barbie movie. What is with the men?
Ooh, how old's your brother, Happy Dinosaur?
Yeah, he's talked about his family. It's kind of a weird thing.
You don't have to be too specific. I just want to know how old the person is.
Oh yeah, yeah. How old is he? But like, what's with the men?
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Jesus,
because they're beaten. They're beaten. It's like what they do to prisoners, right? It's like, they break you down and then you beg for, it's like, did you ever see Cool Hand Luke?
I have not.
Masterpiece, fucking phenomenal film with from the 60s with Paul Newman. But he's like this rebellious prisoner. And at one point, like when he starts inspiring the guys to kind of like, break the rules a little bit. And so they make him dig a hole. And then like the other guard comes over and he's like, why'd you dig this hole? Put that dirt back in there. And he goes, well, he says, dig the hole. So then he puts the dirt back in. And the other guy comes over. He's like, why did you take that? I told you to dig a hole. What are you doing? So he has to do this all day And then it breaks his spirit to the point where he's like, please don't do it, man, boss. Please don't make me do it again. I'll be good. Like it broke him. I think that's like, in a way, psychologically, that's what a lot of men in this country are experiencing. Is like the constant beating over the head. Oh yeah,
23 in college.
Yeah, well, he'll see how it doesn't work out for him, so he'll come back around. He's young.
Man, this is justifying my position on society. Like there are so many things that are trying to break you spiritually.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why I just detach and just, because if I clued in, you would go crazy. And I went a little crazy being so clued in, to be honest. Well, crazier than I already am. Right? Jesus. There's a lot of men with this broken fucking spirit, man. A lot of men with this, and it's sad to see. You know what I mean? I don't know. I wish I had the answers to tell them. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell them outside of, you still are a valuable human. You don't have to.
I would like advise them to turn to religion.
Yeah, you know,
I would, because it's like that. You need like a strong foundation. You need like a principle, like a thing to follow, something to live up to, like a pathway, someone with answers. Because it's like it's too hard to fight all this, you know, without like a strong foundation. You know, you need a foundation to be able to carry through all this shit.
I agree. Listen, I am not a perfect human being, but I absolutely do believe in the Bible. I do read the Bible from time to time. I think there's valuable lessons in it. And I pray on a regular basis because I don't have all the answers for a lot of this stuff. And there definitely is a societal push against men and to belittle men. And now there's becoming like a borderline controlled opposition. Maybe it's not borderline, but we've joked about the red pill content. You know, now there's this pushback, and even that pushback doesn't quite seem as, I don't know if well intentioned is the right word, but it doesn't seem like that quite provides all the answers too, because now it's just teaching you to basically hate women off the rip, and that's not valuable either.
Right. That's why it's like the balance is important.
Yes.
You know, a lot of those things, those movements have kind of like a purpose for the time and place.
True.
You know, it's like the first person who comes out and fights against it, or the first wave, you're like, fuck yeah. But like once that wave crashes, like you kind of just like standing in the shallows, and you're still telling everyone that it's the big wave, and it's not. It's the waves crashed. Yeah.
I think if there is a simple, what do you do is, you know, improve yourself, King. You know, better yourself for yourself, be the best person you can as life goes on, as you can, and kind of hope for the best. You can't color all your interactions by this media stuff. That there's definitely a lot of, not just media pushes. This affects regular society. This affects job hiring. You know what I mean? If you're going for a corporate job, depending on your demographics and their opinion of your demographics, it can affect whether you get the job or not, independent of how qualified you are for it. That's a real thing.
And it's not just that, like it's in government.
Yep.
Like a lot of this, you know, these people are in government. Like it goes very far. You know, it's like, I don't know anything about the Supreme Court justice that came into, you know, Tahani Brown or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say she's like a pure diversity hire. A lot of people were saying that might be true, but when you're being like questioned as to what a woman is, and you are potentially sitting on the Supreme Court, and you are so afraid of the backlash from that answer, that's a real big problem.
That's a huge problem, because either way she answers it, she's going to be backlash. There's going to be backlash. So even if you think that was a very, oh man, how do you not know what a woman is? It's like, well, of course she fucking knows what a woman is, but her whole political career could end, or, you know, it hangs in the balance of how she answers that. What
James Lindsay was saying is that she's not a biologist. What she means is he was talking about how all this is a cult, and it's sort of like the cult leaders they have the answers, and they're the ones who give them to their followers. So what she meant is, I'm not one of the cult leaders, so I can't answer that properly, because it's not for me to decide that. They decide, and I just follow along with it.
Sheesh, that's dark too.
But that's true. I mean, think about it. This is new. All these things, you know, trans women are women. That's a new thing.
Yeah,
it wasn't even like that when it was like even this. It's like it changed.
Yeah, it wasn't
They
even like
weren't.
that 5 years ago, really. You know what I
Yeah, they
mean?
weren't saying that, and now they're saying it, and it's like you have to say it. It's like it's a cult. Like it's like they change the rules, and you go along with it.
And if you do not immediately snap to the rules, obviously you're
You're
outlashed.
in big problem. Yeah, and it's like worse for the cult members to go against the cult than the people who are never in it.
Yeah. And shit, I've talked about this. I've been saying that these fucking red pill podcasts, going back to the red pill not being the answer, saw shit talk about someone fresh fit to get dunked on for a couple hours, gain 12,000 subs. That's 12 G's a month. 1,200 subs, 12 G's. That's why I got the 12,000 from $12,000 a month. 1,200 subs.
Yeah. And it's like, I think it was Ryan Long had a sketch about that.
Yeah.
And it was about the two guys, Buck and Chuck, just like dunking on her, like, "Oh, you're such a pig." And she's like, I hope I'm still getting paid, like, so whatever. Like, it's just like they go on there to be abused, but like financially they come out on top of it. Just out of curiosity, Cinchin Dildo, who was said hoe? Just for reference in the conversation.
For a friend, ask you for a friend.
I like to be thorough.
Research purposes.
Yeah.
Research purposes. But yeah, that's the thing, man. That's the thing. That's the thing about internet culture. I mean, I don't know if we're talking about football this episode. We've already maybe we had the Dolphins reference, and maybe there's some.
I mentioned football once in the first 40 minutes.
It says anti-football, so I mean,
that's right.
Up to the
From brand.
I don't know
white women all look the same.
That's me. That's not true.
Funny.
A lot do though, but no, if there is a through line to like, I feel like sports are way less popular now than they were. Like they are way more monetizable, but I don't feel the same. I don't think kids our age or younger are into sports the same way that we were.
I don't think so, because like I'll find out about giant changes in organizations. I'll find out about new teams.
Yeah,
I'm like, I found out about the Pelicans. Like, I think a few years after they became the Pelicans, I was like, there's a team in New Orleans called the Pelicans. When the fuck did that happen? Like 3 years ago. I'm like, how did I not know that?
I was the same with the Las Vegas Raiders. Still take like they're not in Oakland. Oh no, yeah, they've been in Las Vegas for like 3 or 4 years. Like, oh shit,
has it been that long? I thought it was only their second year.
No, let me see how long Las Vegas.
Okay, I thought it was only their second year, but I'm not sure. Maybe third, but I think there's as many as I. Cinchin Dildo says they're into esports. I guess that's true.
Esports has become very popular. Just still video games in general have become very popular.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, no one's living fulfilling lives, and the relationships are in tatters. So let's go.
2020 was the first year, so
2020. Okay, so this is the third season.
Is the fourth season.
It was a 2020 season, or it happened in 2020?
Let me just clarify that real quick. I'm just on Wikipedia.
Teams moving cities is crazy to me. Yeah, it's crazy to us too, but it's weird. Like it's different here. Like it happens kind of a lot. Like New York City had what?
No, it was
3
2020 season. So this is the fourth season.
Oh, this is the fourth season. Oh wow. See, I didn't even know that.
That's what I mean.
But like New York City had the Yankees, the Giants, and the Dodgers. But the Giants and Dodgers are now on the West Coast, and the Metropolitans just were invented in like the 50s or 60s to like fill that void. And like it was the Indianapolis Colts became the
Baltimore Colts.
Baltimore Colts
became the Indianapolis Colts, and then the Cleveland Browns became the Baltimore Ravens, and then they created a new Cleveland Browns to fill that void.
They did?
Yes. This is not the same Cleveland, and that's what I mean. Even you mentioned the Pelicans. The Pelicans were the original Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets went to New Orleans with the New Orleans Hornets. Then the Hornets the Bobcats, which came up as an expansion team, wanted to become the Hornets again, and somehow they were allowed to become the Hornets, and then the Pelicans became the Pelicans. So yeah, the teams moving cities is still, to me, it's still BS. I still don't quite like it. Just, there's no Seattle Supersonics anymore for this very reason.
That's so weird.
So the franchise thing is wild. Yeah, the Baltimore Colts and the Ravens are not connected. And now even though the entire history of the Cleveland Browns should go through the Baltimore Ravens, instead of that, they just have it as if it's a gap. But this new Cleveland Browns regime has nothing to do with
I
the
didn't actually
original
know that
Browns
about the
ownership.
Browns. I thought it was a different team. So oh, wow. So the
Yeah,
Browns are an expansion team,
they are technically an expansion team from '99.
but even though
But
they're not,
even though they're not, they will connect the history like Jim Brown. But Jim Brown did not play for this
that's
franchise.
so
He played for the
weird.
franchise that actually is the Baltimore Ravens. Just like Johnny Unitas somehow played for the Colts, but he never played in Indianapolis. He was only in Baltimore.
At least the Giants and Dodgers took their names with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, well, the Rams and the Raiders have moved multiple times each.
Yeah, because they've both been in LA multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
This is the second LA Rams, right? Because they were the
Yeah.
LA Rams.
LA
Then
Rams
they
to
became
the St.
Louis
Louis Rams.
and they went back to LA.
Yeah, at least they kept the Rams.
Yeah, and then with the Raiders, it's even weirder because they were the Oakland Raiders. Then they went to LA. Then they went back to Oakland. Now they're in Vegas.
Yeah. So weird.
The Chargers aren't the San Diego Chargers. They're the LA Chargers. I keep forgetting that.
That's right. They're not San Diego anymore.
Yeah, which I think they may have
forget
been
about
Chargers way back in the day as well.
It's like when I was stoked the Rams came back to LA because I was living there. I was like, cool, this is dope. And then like the fucking Chargers came and I was like, oh, we don't need them. They can stay in San Diego. That's fine.
Yeah. And that's also weird because like, fuck San Diego now. Like, go fuck yourself, San Diego. You don't have a team.
Yeah. Well, that's like half a city anyway.
Yeah. And this is another one. Why are they the Utah Jazz? It doesn't make sense. But they used to be the New Orleans Jazz. Why didn't they become the Utah Rockies or something? I don't know.
The Lakers play in LA. They're from Michigan.
Actually, I think they do have a link to Michigan.
Michigan or is it Minnesota?
Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
But I believe even
one of those big, insignificant M states in the middle of the country.
Hey. Michigan's not insignificant. Birthed your boy. No, but yeah, man.
Kid Rock? Oh.
No. Was it you? Somebody said Kid Rock was caught drinking a Bud Light.
Oh, no. I'll never listen to that him again.
Yeah, because you totally had Bob with a Bob playing right before this.
It was kind of funny. I mean, it was a little bit of an overreaction, but it was kind of funny when he shot up a bunch of Bud Light with an MP5. That's pretty funny. It's insane.
Yeah,
because he didn't do it with a sense of irony. If he did it with a sense of irony, it would have been funny. But he really meant it. And you're like,
he was intense. Yeah.
Okay, that's a little scary.
You're perpetuating the wrong stereotypes, guys.
Like, would you also continue to shoot that if Dylan Mulvaney was holding the butt? Like, that's like kind of what you're implying here.
Yeah, like, okay, man.
Like, you don't have to kill them.
Right? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, this is maybe a through line of football. From the little bit I've watched, have you noticed the like Bud Light commercials? Like they're trying.
Really God, I want to do a sketch about this.
Yes.
I want to do a sketch about this so bad.
I was watching like their fans back.
And it was also I was watching like a Ford commercial, and it was like, you work hard. Like America, like values, not like Bud Light. Please don't Bud Light us.
Yeah.
Like it was like they were leaning into it so fucking hard. I was like, yeah, we got it. I
noticed that. And shit, going back to the franchise thing, and I think the Oakland A's might move. I didn't know they were in Philadelphia. I knew the Kansas City A's. But they also been to Oakland, Philadelphia, Kansas City, and Oakland, and they might move again. There's a good chance they might move out of Oakland because they're apparently in a shitty building. And
wasn't there another Sox team?
There's been a few, like the Cincinnati Reds,
the long stockings or some shit like that. Yeah, that's it.
And
red stockings, bunch of
it was the 1800s.
Marys.
it was the late 1800s.
Yeah, pull up your knickers, gals. Take the field.
What else? Obviously, there's White Sox, Red Sox, and I don't know how those franchise. I mean, there's a lot of weird franchise movement. You talk about the early 1900s, early 1800s. I mean, because you're establishing the sport as a thing.
Yeah, then there's just teams they invent, like the Rockies or the Tampa Bay Rays. They just like, there's a team here now.
Yep, expansion teams.
And then you really do just get used to it. It's not like,
after a while you get used to it.
I mean, the Mets are an expansion team, technically.
Yep. Yeah, but I mean
the original, there was only like 6 teams or something. The original MLB, so
Which I mean, again, makes sense that we live in a world where sports is now like this big, multi-billion trillion dollar industry, and everyone understands it. But like, it was like 1900 something. It's like, the fuck are you doing playing baseball? Could you please get in the factory or something, bro?
That was the only steam. The only way to blow off steam was like
Yeah.
baseball, sports. I mean, dudes like Mickey Mantle, they had like jobs.
Yeah. If you go back in like the 50s back, a lot of them did have jobs.
Yeah.
Or
It's crazy. Like I'm watching that show, Winning Time. Still can't recommend it enough. But there's, I guess there's a contract that Jerry Buss gave to Magic that was like 25 mil, but it was like $1 million a year, which in the 70s is still like 80s, still
shit
great.
ton of money.
Shit ton of money. But that was because like the one player was getting like $38,000 or something like that.
Jesus.
And it was like they didn't have like there was whatever it was, like they couldn't negotiate their salary. There wasn't the free agent thing, I think, or something. It was something where like, so it's like these guys, they're paying them nothing and they are the entire act.
Yeah.
It's not like a movie where you're like replaceable easily. You know what I mean? Like there's a premium on talent, but most actors, you can replace them. It's not that big of a deal. But like, you can't just replace
Magic
LeBron
Johnson,
James, Magic Johnson, Kareem. You can't just replace them. Like you can physically do it, but you can't duplicate what they can deliver.
Can't duplicate the productions.
Yeah, they're getting paid like, like what like a manager at like a fucking factory gets. You're like, I think they have more value than that.
Yeah. But I mean, societally, you would not have thought it. I remember, was it radio? And they were talking about how Dr. J was like the first guy to get $500,000. It was a side thing, in the back conversation. Like, no way anyone deserves a $500,000 just to play basketball, right?
It's so weird too when people say deserve. Like there's some board that decides salaries for people, and they're like, teachers don't deserve it, athletes do. It's like, market value, even kind of.
Yeah, there is a whole market value in it. Ironically enough, we talk about the teachers thing, and I'm kind of echoing Young Ripa's talk about unions. There's a lot of people who have this auto pro union view of things. Part of the reason teachers do not make more money is the teachers unions, because they much rather create more like administrative jobs than do what they can to get teachers paid more. So that's, don't blame me, don't blame society, blame your beloved unions. And also teachers unions protect kitty diddlers. That's another thing they do, because of
they do a lot of dark shit. We talked about this. I watched this documentary, which I forgot what they call it now, but it was called The Sopranos State, which didn't age great, but essentially it was showing how corrupt the teachers union really is in New Jersey, and like how much tax dollar money goes to like some dude's friend who becomes like a janitor or sits on the school board for like, several $100K with a pension, all tax dollars. And these like tiny districts, when you compare the other states, how big the districts are, like there's like a one superintendent for every one of these towns, and they're all making like 250K. Like it's really weird. Like it's a very, very corrupt, like whole bracket they've got going on.
It's like that in Michigan too. And it's like that, I know, in at least not just from The Wire, but I know it's like that in Maryland, because there's a lot of the same sort of just corruption where one guy, he's over a part, obviously some of these bigger city districts like Baltimore and Detroit, for those respective states, and he's a part of a section of a district. He's making, like you said, 200K. You're like, what does he really do? Does he do anything? And no. And meanwhile, there's a teacher making like 38K with like 50 students in their class.
Right. Doing the actual work. Yeah. What's his name? Thomas Sowell. That's something he's very pro charter school.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
I never even heard the argument. Of course, I hadn't until like I'm listening to Thomas Sowell. But then that started to make me think just about all of our education. And then James Lindsay echoed this exact thought, in that our education's kind of always been red, like communist a little bit. And I was like thinking back on all the things we learned. I was like, that is so fucking true. Like, and there's a lot of like conservatives that kind of fight that. There's like Freedom Tunes.
Yeah, I've seen those.
And so he talked, honestly, considering it's an agenda driven comedy outlet, pretty funny. And you don't have to just agree to like find it funny. Like that's actually genuinely funny.
Oh, peace out, Happy. Happy's leaving. I appreciate you being here.
Deuces, Dino.
Yeah.
But
fight the patriarchy, Happy.
Just how many things like they would say that the government stepped in and helped, but actually it was already kind of trending that way, and we didn't really need you to do that.
Yeah.
But they get credit, and then we as students would get that education.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
I keep preaching against the education system like a ton, because I'm like, when I was a kid, I was like, something's not right about this. I just something.
I agree.
It was just wholly not right. And I remember actually the real moment. I was in Southfield High School. I'm in the 9th grade, and you can see by year that there aren't students, meaning there's a ton of freshmen. There's a nice amount of 10th graders.
It would just arc down.
Yeah. And there's some 11th graders and there's some seniors. And I'm like, well, that seems like a problem. Like, why does that happen? And keep in mind, Southfield at the time especially was like a thought of a better school. This is right outside Detroit. It's not in Detroit. So this isn't supposed to be, like some fucking Stand By Me type school, right? It's supposed to be like,
you're not gonna have Michelle Pfeiffer come in and inspire you with Bob Dylan lyrics.
Okay. It isn't supposed to be that school. Yeah, I'm still seeing that, and it just seemed like there's something off. And then there's also, one thing school puts is like this whole academia worship. So like clearly going to college is the best idea for you. Clearly racking up hundreds of thousands of student debt and going to another institution, which, I mean, I don't know, you went to college. College is often way worse than even high school as far as organization goes, because these teachers can be even wackier and have less
accountability.
Less accountability, less standards. So, but
and there's like all these scams too that they run. Like the professor writes a book and then assigns it to the class that you have to purchase, and then we'll change it like every few years. There's a new edition. You have to buy the new edition. Like, what the fuck is that? That's like organized crime.
It absolutely is organized crime. It absolutely is organized crime. And it was just something weird about school. Like, I didn't find out years later about was it Rockefeller? Somebody designed a school system so we could be all factory workers.
Now I'd heard that, and I'd heard. I was listening to Michael Malice and Kurt Metzger talk about that exact thing the other day. And Malice is a pretty educated guy, and he echoed that. But I had heard that wasn't true.
Is that not true?
Now I'm not. But I don't know. I just think I heard that. So now I'm not sure if that's true.
I'm not an expert on that either.
But they were echoing it like it's a real thing. So it might be. But I've also always heard that from like kind of lefty Pucas college kids. So I don't really know what to believe.
And correction, it was Lean on Me. I knew it was one of them. I think Stand By Me is like the one with kids.
I know what you meant, though. I got it. Yeah.
It's the Clark.
Dangerous Minds. Isn't there a Hillary Swank one, too?
Oh, it was a Freedom Riders.
Yeah. Some white savior.
Yeah. But yeah, there's always been something amiss with the education system. It never
That's it. Spencer Jodo's saying exactly what they were saying.
Pretty common from the start, because it was proto-progressives who copied the Prussian model and brought it to the U.S. The Prussian model was set up to make obedient citizens from the start. So regardless of who was the progenitor of that was the intention.
And when I heard it pitched, it was kind of like it had something to do with wartime, where it was kind of like we just need to have a regimented populace so that if we do have to mobilize the populace to go to war, it won't be that far of a departure.
Yeah.
Which is like, that doesn't sound all that nefarious.
Yeah, that makes sense for the time, but.
And like regiment and organization and structure is good for people for the most part.
Yeah, I agree with that sort of stuff.
But our education system is like, we're obviously getting a lot of bullshit. We're certainly not getting a 360-degree view of anything. We're getting a lot of narrative. And it's really geared towards women.
Absolutely geared towards women. Not only is it geared towards women, it is ill preparing our youth for reality. It is it's hindering their ability to handle reality, to the point where now there is a section of the youth who are trying to change reality at its core to fit the ineptness they have been made, because of the education system.
Yeah. It's really true. Like I'm kind of facing that a little bit now at work, right? Like what I do, I work in like a pretty nice restaurant. And so like we sell, quality things. I've been doing that forever. So I'm very adept at it. But my management and stuff, and don't get me wrong, I really like the people I work for. So this is not shitting on them, but they want us to basically like memorize the details of like the wine. So they want you to know the name of the house the wine is made in, the name of the wine, the name of the cuvee, the year, and where it's from specifically. And I'm like, none of that matters to the average consumer. No one cares.
Yeah.
Say Italy, and that's good enough for almost everybody. And anyone else who wants to follow up, it's nice to have that knowledge, but you don't need it. Also, it's written on the menu right there. Like it's weird, but it's like this to me. It's this very female way of learning. It's like this is the right answer. This is all the information. Recite. It's like if I feel like I'm in school and I'm like, what is this? And it's
that's a thing that I've even dealt with corporate America, because like what happens is people, for whatever reason, there's this. I don't want to overvalue. I don't want to undervalue college. I don't want to do the thing. Oh, you went to college and graduated, you're worse. No, that's not true.
Stupid motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
But there's definitely a thing. You know what I mean?
For a lot
knowledge up here, knowledge you can't have.
You're right. No, but there's definitely a thing where people will push people who have college educations into management a lot quicker, and so then they bring over their college academia way of thinking as a means of management where it doesn't work for whatever. And academia only works in academia. You know what I mean? It doesn't really work in the real world.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't really apply.
Yeah. And that's the whole can of worms.
I mean, I can talk on my education, especially my secondary education, which was mostly acting, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of college, like 2 years of actual college, and then the rest was like drama school. But drama school for a long time, like it's ongoing education. You never stop growing as an artist, quite frankly. But I just kept doing it, and it was like so much of the education I was getting was worthless. Like, yes, technically I was being taught how to act, but it was none of the actual skill sets of being a professional actor. Like, if you wanted to be a professional actor now, like the skill sets I would advise for you to get would be Photoshop, like video editing, writing, like business, like just a general business acumen. So you understand the dynamics of the thing that you're getting in, and like networking, like do those things first and then go to acting class last.
Yeah.
Like it's not like the movies. You don't just show up and they're like, it doesn't work like that. You're engaging in an industry, but like you're basically kind of starting your own business too. So you have to like be the PR of that business. You have to be the management. You've got to be the accounting. You have to do all that. Like that's your job. Like it's, and you like, there's just so many other skill sets that are way more applicable than like, the emotional context of this scene. It's like that all matters way later. Like so much further from now.
Yeah. Real quick from the chat. I've been a manager. None of my employees want me to talk about critical thinking. We don't teach our kids critical thinking.
We don't.
We actually bash and try to stamp out critical thinking.
No, there's like the right answer and that's it. And I have that. I wrestle with that same problem. It was so beaten into me as a kid. I wrestle with it.
Same here. What I do, this is a lot of people. What I do, college had no value and I made great money, yet it's impossible to get in my field without a degree.
Jake said I would offer you an interview. I'd get you in to talk with my company, but I literally can't because you don't have a degree. And like, you could 100% do this job, but I can't get you in because you don't have a degree.
When I tried to get into the tech industry, I dealt with that. And I made a game. I had all these different websites and shit and different little apps and different languages. Didn't get anywhere. Getting firsthand experience too. Travel, see the world. Well, We're not all champagne socialists like you do though. So can afford to travel and see the world.
Yeah, man. We're not all arms dealers in the former Soviet Republic.
Degrees are in history, pole set, and I'm working contractual negotiations and business structure. That's insane.
Yeah.
Teaching critical theory. They're not teaching
critical theory thinking. That's funny.
Right?
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you want to talk any football? I mean, your Lions won.
Yeah, I did see that the Lions won.
There
So
you
that was
go.
cool.
Two
Two and
and
one.
one. And the last one was an overtime, even though it was a heartbreaker. It was still like a competitive game.
Yeah, we're still doing good. We're still doing good. We may have traded Ascension Dildo or somebody he knows for Brittany Griner. I'm not sure. I didn't even see what happened with the other team. That's why part of it I was like, man, I if you would have said, you know what, I don't want to do it, I would have been like, yeah, because I just didn't watch. I just slept it off.
I watched the Jets.
How did they do? I didn't know.
They held the Patriots to 15 points.
Okay.
2 of those were a safety.
Yeah.
Jets had a fucking guy. And what's his name? Zach Wilson had a spectacular drive. Like, I mean, an elegant, like 83-yard, decisive, kick-ass step up and really sling it drive. And then it was a 3-point game. They got the ball and they got pushed back quite a bit. I think it was penalties and then like just bad plays. And then they got a safety, which was like
heartbreaking.
And then they got the ball back again and couldn't get a first down. And you're like, I mean, one good drive does not a win make, my friend. Like you have to at least convert one time once on 2 possessions in the end of the game to win it. This is the moment. This is what quarterbacks do. This is the thing you dreamed about when you were a kid. You're right here. This is the time. And if you can't do it, then you're not the guy.
You're not the guy. And speaking of guys who are not the guy, I think they might have been in the same draft. Bustin Fields, a.k.a. Justin Fields, who is not looking good for the Bears.
It was against the Chiefs, but I don't know. Lions handled the Chiefs.
Lions handled the Chiefs is right. And you know what, man? We covered it on the very first episode. We were going down these busts. There's a lot of these quarterbacks that were drafted high that are not panning out. Because Zach Wilson still was a high draft pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. We talked about that, but he was probably drafted too high.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are drafted too high. I think there's a male hyperism. It's part of why. Like, there's just people get drafted on like pure hype.
The hype train, man. The hype train. Probably don't listen to their scouts. Like, I know there's that famous story of the scout who worked for, I think it was Houston, and there was this shortstop that looked super promising, and he was saying he might be one of the best baseball players ever. And when they passed on him, he quit. And the number 2 team that got him was the Yankees, and that player was Derek Jeter.
Oh.
And he knew. He's like, this guy is a phenom. He's a different level. You have to draft him, and they didn't, and he quit. So who knows? Who knows with these organizations if they just
That's crazy.
Sometimes because these guys are businessmen too. Maybe they're just thinking the big name, big money,
marketing. Yeah, I do think that's a huge thing. But yeah, both of these guys, I want to say, were drafted just a few years ago, and it's like, I don't think either of you guys are NFL quarterbacks, man. I'm not an NFL quarterback either, but I know you guys aren't. Like,
I know. I saw it. I saw it in Zach Wilson that one drive. I was like, if you could play like that 60% of the time, we'd be fine. But that is the 10% of the time you play like that.
Yeah.
And if this was your first season, that's okay. We can build on that. This is your 3rd season. And it's like,
and you got you weren't supposed to be the starter, obviously. And now you have another chance to prove yourself. Here's a, if you want to have a, sometimes quarterbacks have that story, the Kurt Warner story, or, comeback type kid. It's like, hey, if you want to have that situation, here's another opportunity, and you're not getting it done.
It's just so funny, like thinking about the Jets season where, like, Rodgers, we're all pumped. They do Hard Knocks. Everyone in the league is talking about how the Jets might be the team to beat. 4 plays.
That's it. It's all over.
It's gone. And same old Jets immediately.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a curse on this team. There's a curse on the Jets.
Yeah.
I don't know how to break it. It's not like the Babe Ruth thing. I don't know. But, some teams get cursed, man.
Yeah, real quick, I got to get a dildo. He's getting him. He said, yes, you could have traveled the world. You didn't spend all that money on sneakers like a Rihanna. And then here's my real thing. Okay, I spent too much money on sneakers. Whatever. I hitchhiked around Europe when I was 16 for like $500 a month. Bro, Europe is, and this kind of comes with my job because I deal with like international stuff, where people in Europe have no idea for the scale of the size of the United States. Europe is like the state of New York. It's not that large. Like it's large. It's like, okay, I traveled around. It's the equivalent of saying I traveled around Texas. Like
Yeah,
maybe
no.
I'm wrong, maybe, but it's like it's not as big. Let me see.
I'm
Size
looking
of
it up.
continental Europe.
I'm looking it up.
Okay. It's like a coast. It's like, okay, you went to France and then you went to England. They're like New Jersey and New York.
I mean, actually, your Texas comparison is perfect.
Yeah.
So look at
I've been to Austin. So I've traveled.
You've traveled the world.
Traveled the world.
Look at this.
See, look at this.
That's just the one state.
2 Texases, and you got Europe.
That's wow. That is much bigger.
Make 2.5.
Yeah.
The country is huge.
But does that mean because would you have done it? You know what I mean? Like if it's not like I was like, oh, I'd hitchhike around this country. It's just too big. It's not like you know what I mean? It wasn't like that was the hurdle.
I have no desire to go around this. I mean,
yeah, but like that's because I mean, our country is interesting, but our country's not thousands and thousands of years old.
Yeah, and
like with rich cultures that are so much more distinct because of how old they are and how more defined they are.
Fair enough, but you can't compare that to we use the term travel the world, and maybe I'm being a technical stickler, maybe I'm not. You traveled a nice size area. You traveled a continent, a continent.
Yeah, but
like you said,
dude, a road trip across Europe versus a road trip across this country, the one across Europe would leave with such a deeper impression.
I would agree with that because it's
just prettier.
Yeah,
but B, like just the cultures that you'd experience. I mean, just going through. Imagine going just France to Germany, just like how you know what I mean, like the food. And like the art and the castles and the history there, like, you know what I mean? Just in that little, and it's pretty close, so it's like, you'd get so much out of that. Whereas like driving from like Virginia to South Carolina to, down to Florida would be interesting, but it wouldn't be like, wow.
It wouldn't impact you as a person. I agree with that.
Yeah, it is different. And also, I mean, that's pretty brave. 16 too. Like,
it's kind of nuts. I'm giving dildo shit but like, at 16, I don't think I would have did that. No.
Yeah, especially with like gypsies and shit. Like, we don't have to deal with gypsies.
Yeah.
They're like a protected class that are just a parrot. They're like, they just ruin everyone's life. They seem horrible. I was gonna say parasite, but that was too close to like Hitler speak. I shouldn't say that on the air. Like, you see this Nazi foul ball productions? He said parasites.
But I mean, it is still I'm not gonna all shit aside. I missed your point. It is impressive. But it was like,
but I don't even know if he's trying to brag. I think he was just saying for context of like how it can impact your mind and your development as a person.
Yeah, that travel. But I mean,
he's like a little Che Guevara going around South America.
Yeah. Hitchhike 14. Jesus. I wouldn't hitchhike.
If I hitchhiked when I was 14, I'd get the shit kicked out of me. I would never be able to leave again.
Yeah, I wouldn't hitchhike. And I don't know if that's a cultural thing as far as Europe and America, but I would never hitchhike. I know people did it in the 70s and shit. That was like a thing.
It was common. I think my mom and dad used to do that sometimes.
Yeah. It was
just very normal.
Yeah.
Then like serial killers started killing them.
Yeah, I would never hitchhike in this day and age. Ever.
I mean, well, you don't have to. Now you can just Uber, like, take the bus, ride a city bike or what. I mean, there's too many options. You don't need to.
That's true. But you couldn't Uber across the country. It would be, incredibly expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
Wildly expensive.
A buddy of mine here in Austin just did a bike trip across France.
Yeah.
Which was like pretty interesting. Yeah. His buddy built these e-bikes that you had to pedal, but had an engine as well so that they could carry all their gear and shit. He said it was still pretty much like biking, but then you could bring tents and all like hundreds of pounds of gear and stuff like that across France. And the things he was describing, I was like, no, that can't be. What? That's not how I envisioned it at all. He said they would go these like little towns and like for like a brunch for like 5 people with like 3 courses and maybe like a glass of wine each, the total bill was like 80 euros or something.
Really?
I was like, what? How is that possible? And he's like, in America, we talk about farm to table. They're like, the farm is right there. that's where the food came from, and what they grew is what you're eating.
Mm.
I was like, damn, that is shit. That does sound awesome.
That sounds awesome.
I love to dunk on Europe, but that sounds rad.
That sounds incredible. And honestly, there's another, and I've seen like shorts talking about how hard it is to farm in this country from a regulatory standpoint and from a financial standpoint, where you need these like super mega farms just to stay afloat. You have to put all this money into equipment and all this other stuff instead of like having a small farm that serves just a single restaurant, and then you can just grow everything there. I wish we. I mean, maybe there are some places like that here, but I wish that was like a common.
Yeah, there's a few places. Like, there's a place in New York called Blue Hill at Stone Barns, which is like that's how they do it, but it's like hundreds of dollars a person.
Yeah,
it's not like your normal local restaurant. It's just our infrastructure is not really set up for that.
Yeah, our infrastructure. That you know what, all the shit over Europe, their infrastructure is superior to ours. I don't think that's even a debate.
Yeah, I think at least as far as like public transport and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I mean, some of the places I've also heard that if you're trying to drive is actually my dad drove in Ireland, and he was like, it was horrible. Like the roads are tiny, like they're not. It's not well. It's like it takes so long. There's no highways, so it's like driving was actually like a real pain in the ass. It's like
they don't build. That's the trade off.
Yeah, he's like, it's not. It was kind of scary. I was like, yeah, all right, I get that.
They traded off driving for the public transportation, the trains and everything.
Jake D in the chat saying about his P229. I got an interesting development in my firearm situation.
Yeah.
So my uncle this past year died, R.I.P. And when I had to go out to California, I had to go out to California to go through all the stuff. He had some guns. He had a fucking Winchester.
Oh wow!
Like the gun that won the West, like this, like lever action cowboy gun. Yeah, it was beautiful. And then he had a couple of Colt pistols that I guess were like standard issue, like National Guard pistols at the turn of the century, like the last one, and a Mauser, the rifle that the Germans used in World War, I think 1 and 2, but definitely World War II.
He was like collecting these things. These are collector
pieces. Well, he was a felon, so he couldn't buy guns like normal. But if they're old enough, that they're antiques, you can buy them from some loophole or something. So he had them, and I was like, God, I want these so bad. Yeah. But I was in California. I had to fly. I'm like, he had a Porsche too. I literally was just thinking, like, I'm just gonna put the guns in the Porsche and drive to Texas. Like, I was like seriously just thinking that, like running guns across the country. But I was like, no. Like, this Porsche has been sitting here for years. Like, I don't know when the last time it's been serviced. What if it breaks down? I don't even know how to drive a stick. So I'd have to learn how to drive a stick on a fucking Porsche. You know what I mean? Like,
across the country.
And I'm sure I could figure it out after 20 miles, but it's still, I was just like, fuck, this can't work. So I was like, lost cause. Well, my dad, he visited like a week or two ago, and he was saying, yeah, those guns haven't sold. I'm like, they haven't sold? I'll take them. I want them. He's like, really? I was like, Dad, please let me have those guns. Like, please, please, please.
Yeah.
Take them out of my inheritance. Like, I want the guns. And he's like, yeah, all right, I'll talk to the guy. And I was like, oh my God. So I may actually get that little arsenal.
Oh, that's cold.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That's cool to have all those classic guns. And since you did, this is kind of what was my point, was just like there's an infrastructural ease that makes traveling across Europe a lot more doable of a thing. But the fact that you hitchhike it is still kind of insane. No wonder you're insane. Later, upgrade to trains. We have a young people ticket over here. It's valid for 1 month. The whole Europe can take any train except the first class ones. And apparently Jake Diesel has a Winchester 94, some 1911s.
That's the one. Yeah, it's the Winchester. Oh, you have that. Oh, yeah. They aren't 1911s. They're revolvers. They're Colt revolvers.
Yeah.
I think they're 38s. They say they take the same caliber as the Winchester.
The only classic gun I know is a Colt single.
I want it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Only classic gun I know is a Colt single action Army. And for those who know, that is a Metal Gear Solid reference. That is Revolver Ocelot's gun.
Oh, that's the Revolver Ocelot. Yeah. Right? Isn't that dope, Jake? I know that Mauser was beautiful. And they were so well cared for. I don't know if my uncle cared for them that well, or like they were like he bought them in this perfect condition, but they were in perfect condition. Like the bolt on that Mauser, elegant. Oh, it was nice, and it just there's this little lever, just pops right out, pops right. I was just like, oh my god, it was just such a nice machine.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It might have been the Colt Single Action Army. Let me see that.
Yeah, actually, I had it pulled up because of the fucking.
That doesn't look like it. No, that looks more like a cowboy gun. I don't know. Let me see here.
Here we go. This is the
90s.
Colt Single
National Guard.
As I can talk. Single Action Army. It's a revolver Ocelot's gun. It's the only kind of like classic gun I know of because of Metal Gear.
Is that it?
So there's a few different.
I'm not sure about this one. I have to get back to you on that. No I wish it was that Remington model 1890. That is fucking gorgeous. I don't know. I have to look that up.
One time he had his gun safe. He showed you grenade. Some kind. I cannot speak because small time Republic. And it is one time. One time a guy showed me his gun safe and he had grenades. So.
Oh, cool.
Some awesome revolvers.
Yeah. Might have been the early 1900s. Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
The Colt New Army Model 1900 double action revolver. I think that's it. That looks like it. It's not quite as cool. It looks more like a police gun from like the 20s.
Still kind of cool.
Yeah, no, very cool. Very cool. And kind of a fun set to like grow with and learn on. Because I don't think I know what I'm doing. Like I understand how the guns work, but I don't think I know how to use them like downrange. Like when we were shooting at the range, I'm like, I don't think I'm doing well here. I don't think I'm hitting my targets where I want to hit them.
How is shooting those vintage guns for like the gun itself? How well do they?
I have no idea. I didn't fire them. When we went to the range, I went with my girlfriend. We fired 2 ARs, one that shot 5.56, which kicked. I had a bruise. And then one that was this really cool, dude. It looked like a video game. It was a 9mm platform, as they say, and it had a suppressor on it. Dude, it was like a Navy SEAL gun. It was so sick.
Oh, man.
Hollow scope, ruled.
Yeah.
Or like red dot. But yeah,
platform. Really haven't they regulated some of that shit with the 9mm, like certain pieces of equipment that you can't put on a 9mm? Like some stuff is.
Yeah, but apparently Texas has got some lax rules. Like this dude I work with, I didn't really know him. We started bonding today, and he's showing me this gun, and it's like straight up special forces. It's like this squat rifle with a folding stock and all these like doohickeys and gear. I was like, yo, that is sick. That is a really cool gun.
Not be infringed, man, which I like.
Yes, we have had this discussion. It's a tough one though, because it's like I think we all silently are like probably should be infringed a little bit. I don't think my neighbor should have a tank.
I want a bazooka though.
I want one, but I don't think if I were in charge of me, I wouldn't give me a bazooka.
Ah, man. I mean, a bazooka, honestly, I'm joking.
If they use bazookas anymore.
There would be a part of me that I would be so afraid of the bazooka triggering for some other reason in my house blowing up.
Yeah, or just storing like explosive rounds. Like what if they degrade? And I don't know how that works.
Exactly. What if, something falls over and my garage is exploded? You know what I mean?
You just blow up the neighborhood because a paint can fell off a shelf.
Tactical nuke for everyone. So they're clearly, they're like, as much as there is, but like as far as like guns, like
full auto.
Yeah, full auto, man. I get it, but it's like you never know. Plus, it's robbing season all year round.
Full autos on the streets, man.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's another thing. It's not like I might be chased by motherfuckers with full autos, and it's like, well, you don't legally allow. You're not legally allowed. Like,
and mass shootings are bad, man. But if you had full auto on a mass shooting, you get some new records.
That's true. That is true. But it's like, what the? I don't know. The gun thing is always
so complicated.
Hard. Yeah,
it's not an
easy.
It has to stop at
some point. Answer.
Because it's like if corporations were just allowed to amass private armies, we could get into some really dicey shit.
Yeah,
like if Bezos, like how big of an army you think Bezos could raise?
right? Yeah, like
pretty big.
right? I mean, Bezos and Elon, they'll talk shit on Twitter, and it's like, ha ha. What if they actually had armies and they were like, okay, we're gonna like act on the Amazon army? Like that's a problem, and that could happen if we just totally deregulate. Yeah, you're not wrong.
I mean, okay, hold on. What's one?
The Microsoft army versus the Tesla army versus the Amazon army, destroying the whole West Coast.
Okay, so 1 billion divided by 75 million is 13. That means for $1 billion, Jeff Bezos could buy 13 F-35s.
Holy shit. That's enough to get started. It's enough to cause some damage.
A lot.
Yes.
That's more than some countries.
Yeah, it probably is.
And if that's the top, that's like a fucking spaceship, that thing.
And you put, 10 billion down, which you got like 130.
He's got hundreds of billions. He could have a fleet. He could have a fucking, you know what I mean? You're like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think everyone should have access to military equipment. But then it's like, where do you draw the line? It's like, I don't know, but there has to be one.
There has to be a line. There are private security. This is true. There are private security companies that are Delta Force, but there will be even more, right?
Yeah. There's like, what are those trucks? They had them in that movie, The Terminal List.
I don't think I
know. They were like, you buy them. Let me see here. It was a Terminal List.
But yeah, a nation full of billionaire warlords. I mean, if you talk about some of the buying power, and that was put in the military, and then also consider Bezos as a genius at buying goods for very cheaply, so he could work out a deal to get stuff in mass. I mean, we're talking about like a whole, Jeff Bezos runs the country sort of thing. And he got to deal with it.
This is what they had. This you can buy. A private citizen can buy this.
Yeah,
it's not armed, but it might as well be. It's a tank. They call it the
APCs, armored personal carriers.
Yeah, like this is all armored, and you can like there's scale. I was looking into it. There's like scales of armor you can purchase for it. You can get like anti-explosive armor. You can buy this. So you put that, with like a Barrett and a couple fucking, ARs. Do some damage.
Honestly, I want to buy a couple of these and become actually a vigilante. Fuck this. I'm done. I want to kit this shit out with guns.
Starting at $175K. Oh, the video experience.
What? I need more super chat so I can buy this APC. What
Luxury meets military. Introducing the Rezvani tank.
All right. Well, what's so cool about
it? The toughest, most powerful, extreme sport utility vehicle on Earth, with an exterior design inspired by armored military vehicles. Its muscular proportions, wide stance, and bold silhouette, tank has an undeniable presence. The arched and bulging fenders exude strength and purpose. The tank features unique, captivating LED headlights.
Talk about the armor.
A thermal night vision camera allows the driver to see in darkness using thermal heat signatures.
Vigilante travel.
The tank offers an escape hatch, allowing safe escape from the vehicle.
Or like a fucking like a light machine gun.
Yeah, that's where the submachine gun goes.
Or like one of those belt feds, like saws, a few hundred rounds a second or a minute. I mean, yeah, that's pretty wild. So, I mean, maybe they do. I mean, like if you had the means, would you have your own private army?
I don't know about private army, but like private, like secure, like a military equipment. 50 Mike, which I had to Google because I'm a boomer or an idiot.
Is that millimeter?
So
it's a grenade launcher. Oh, that's pretty cool. Those auto grenade launchers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw the one automatic shotgun when they had like this. Did you ever see that?
Oh hell yeah. FPS Russia.
Yeah.
You know that guy?
Some shit like that.
Yeah.
Mounted to the car. You're coming up and you just mowing down motherfuckers. Well, listen, if the purge actually happens, if society actually falls,
I'm fucked.
Right?
Yeah.
Both. I got a 12 gauge and a bunch of shells and some liquor, so that's just I'm just riding out like that.
Senshin Dildo saying muscular proportions, wide stance. It did seem a little homoerotic, to be honest. It's like a huge throbbing dick. You're like, what? A huge throbbing exhaust port. You're like, all right,
all right. It's called you guys. But you know what? Everyone wants to be an alpha male now, so that's the thing.
Even women.
In-law with a 50 cal and a military Hummer. That's dope.
Wait.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wait, my cousin has a wealthy
in-law with a 50
cal
and a military Hummer.
It's got to be like a single shot. I mean, you can buy a Barrett, I think.
Yeah.
You can buy that 50 caliber rifle. You can buy a 50 caliber rifle.
There's people who know how to get it to where it's not a single shot too. Not that we suggest that the VigilanteWilliamson show or any of that.
I mean, I don't know if you should have any. I don't think anyone could handle firing a fucking automatic Barrett. You ever seen that shit?
I've seen like in movies and shit, but not for real. No,
I've never seen. But I mean, like I've seen them shoot it. Like I've seen video, and it's like apparently like it's painful. Like look at this thing.
It would.
So you see here, like, let me share it.
Don't know if it's legal or functional. Yeah, I don't know if it's either. And apparently, you just got to come to the JD cave. He has.
I'll come to you. I can make bread, Jake. On the end there, here is like a muzzle brake that shoots back like the. There's so much gas, superheated gas that comes out. It has to shoot out in sides.
Yeah.
But if you're on either side of him, you'll just get cooked by all that heat. Like that's how powerful this fucking thing is.
Yeah, you see the like fire or basically come out both sides. I have seen that fire. Man.
Yeah, it's great. And apparently, like it hurts. Like it fucks up like your nose. It gets so concussive. It's kind of like it's hard to fire.
Apparently, you can get the 50 cal. It says very practical. I go with my local shop tomorrow. I got to get in with the local shop.
Practical for disabling like a Rezvani tank. Put one through the engine block.
You never know when you need that type of power. But apparently Barbie just wants a vag. But apparently that's all she needs to take over the government.
That's all you need, according to Barbie. Just have a vagina. Good to go.
Yeah. And we're nearing the end because I actually wanted to go out more than an hour and a half.
I know. We went a little bit longer.
Had a little bit long. No big deal. No big deal. Didn't talk much football, but you know what? It's in the name. This isn't going to be a vanilla sports podcast. Anything else you wanted to talk about before we get out of here?
No. I mean, come check out my show tomorrow. MFR podcast, 1 p.m. my channel, 1 p.m. Central. Be there. We'll be talking stuff. I don't know what yet. You have to look up what's going on in the news and make some funny commentary about it. Also, I put up a video today inviting you to play fucking The Expanse with me, and I lost. God, I love you too. So you can come play fucking The Expanse with me. 18 people have watched that video, so you can go be the 19th if you haven't seen it. But it's really just an invitation if you're a channel member to come play The Expanse role-playing tabletop game with me. I know Jake D expressed interest, and I know Thoth has expressed interest, and I remember Office Girl in the past had said that she would be down to play like some kind of tabletop thing. So I'm working on it. I'm reading the book. I'm reading on how to play this game and run it on Roll20. I think it should be super fun. So if you want to play The Expanse tabletop with your boy, get at me.
Yeah. I may do a stream in a few hours. I actually got to work on something for your boy that I want to talk to. Well, I don't really have to talk too much about. You already know what it is. But
I know what it is.
So I got to do that. I want to do that first. But I may stream a couple hours, and then I'm always streaming on my other channel, Vigilante Williamson. I have now started Vigilante Williamson Music, and I will be doing hopefully things on that very soon as well. And then I will be posting videos and stuff, sports related videos on this channel. Hopefully this stream doesn't cost me. Who knows what's going on with the algorithm? Because like I said, my last 2 videos have not done well, and that's not great. But I appreciate
unless your live streams, dude. Unless your live streams.
I think I might.
Yeah, no one's watching them anyway after they're done.
Yeah.
I give it 24 to 48 hours, 72 if you're feeling generous, and then just unlist it.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
No one rewatches them. So
no one does. You said 24 hours maybe, and then that's it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, you're not losing anything on it.
Yeah, and it's probably not even that. But all right, I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate, even though this wasn't a sports podcast as much, but we're still entertaining, still fun, still interested, still disturbed about the Barbie stuff. Really can't wait for that review, man. Really
yeah, it's gonna be a while.
Yeah,
because I'm really jumping in with both feet on that. Like I said, I have like pages of notes. I might not even be on camera for it. I might do it straight up Mahler style because I might write an actual script with like a thesis and like a whole structure, and that's going to take time. But I will do it. I'm going to deliver on this because I had no idea the gravity of the like nefarious demonic forces in this movie. So I have to go after it. So I will.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. But check me out tomorrow. Podcast.
Speaking of which, did you see Mahler's recent video about like the Ahsoka episode, which I actually did?
I saw one that he did about Star Wars not being able to grow up.
Yeah, that one.
That was great.
Yeah, that was informative, and that was very. I almost wanted to talk about that. We probably could have talked about that maybe another time because there's something. Maybe it's just a hype beast nature, but I'm like, a lot of people apparently enjoyed this Ahsoka, and it looks terrible, and all of Mahler's points are valid, but somehow people still enjoy it, and I think there's a certain like, why do people enjoy bad things?
I think there's a little bit of that. Just consume product and enjoy next product, like that thing, because they don't rewatch it. Like you don't hear anyone talking about The Mandalorian anymore.
Nope. It was just
gone.
It was just hype for that moment.
It's like a reel. You just watch it, scroll through it, never watch it again.
Oh man, that's a great comp. It is a lot of like a reel or a TikTok or short or whatever. The same thing. That quickly consumable content stimulates your brain and then it's gone and you don't have to think about it. It's no lasting impact.
I just don't understand how people felt Ahsoka stimulated their brain. Like I watched that first episode because Zach's wanted me to talk about it, and it was mind numbing. It was just so boring. It wasn't even like I hate the content. I'm just like, this is so fucking slow. It's just glacial pacing. Like, please give me something. Like I don't know why anyone kept watching. Like what were you latched onto? I don't know.
Yeah, that became go back to the Culture Crownfire era. That became the whole Disney Plus thing. After that very first season of Mandalorian, which wasn't perfect, but it became this, let's slow everything down, let's elongate everything out, let's kind of do nothing. Like that second season, nothing really happened most of those episodes. And that was every other show. Like let's write a movie and make it last 6 hours and cut it into episodes.
Yeah. I really don't know how it works. I mean, like I saw what I saw in Hollywood and it makes sense. It's like authentic people are probably, it's like, I just don't think that's where authentic people are. I don't know. Even know. I'm just speculating here, but like good storytellers, like I feel like it's in your bones. Like you have to do it correctly because your soul feels wrong if you don't. And I know they break it up and they mash it, but I don't know. I mean, I guess that's why I gave up. Like when Lord of the Rings broke me and I quit the culture war because I was like, this is stupid. Like I don't need to subject myself to this lower content for clicks. This is gross. I don't want to do this. Like I think it's gross. If you do it, I think it's gross for me. Like I don't get anything out of this. It doesn't make me feel good. It stirs me up. I no. So that's why I started just looking for other stuff because it is out there. Like that's how I found all the Taylor Sheridan stuff. Like that's watching Winning Time. Like I watched Severance. Like there are well-written, well-constructed shows in existence right now. It's just, unfortunately, it's not genre fiction.
Yes. Yeah. Genre fiction has been taken over by, I have a thing about just corporate interference and creativity where just for whatever reason, the corporals cannot understand creativity and they don't allow for creativity. And most well done things in history as far as entertainment are done by like smaller teams with a very clear, concise vision and limited corporate interference where they just fund and take their profits and they go away. But like the modern corporal has to, when they find something that is quote unquote valuable, they have to interfere, they have to interject, and they destroy all creativity. And
it's why you kind of admire a guy like Ricky Gervais, who's like 1, maybe 2 seasons and I'm out.
Yeah.
And it elevates that thing and him so much more.
Yeah.
Seinfeld, another great example. And that was like long. That was like 9 seasons.
9 seasons, yeah.
And he walked.
Not 20.
No, he walked. And it was like, I don't think it does now, but like in the years following Seinfeld, there were reruns that were beating new shows on the air. Yeah, like that's how it's so it elevates it. Like it's like just leave it, like just don't. It's fine. It's
Tell
as good
your
as it
story
exists.
and
Yeah,
get out. And
I think the cachet of fucking The Expanse really got lowered with the Amazon seasons, unfortunately. It's like if it had just stopped at season 3, everyone would have been really sad for a while, but it would have been perfect.
Firefly was only one season, and look how much impact that's had off of the one season that people like.
Since Dodo was asking about Severance season 2, yes, it was greenlit, but it was hindered by the strike.
Yeah,
I've read that just the other day, and I was like, "Fuck!" I thought because I guess there was some kind of creative disagreements, or I don't even know what, but something that slowed it down, which is normal, but it slowed it down just enough to not squeak by the strike.
Yeah.
Damn it. Because that's one of the biggest cliffhangers I remember in a show.
I still haven't watched it ever since. Yeah, damn.
So weird.
All I heard was positive.
Do you want to hear the theory, Sentient Dildo, on what they're working on? And I'll wait to hear your response. I don't want to spoil it because it's like it's not necessarily revealed, but it was what somebody theorized. I read it on Reddit, and I was like, "Ooh, that's pretty good, pretty decent theory."
Yeah. Jerry Seinfeld was off $100 million to keep his show going. Walked away. Chappelle Show walked away after like 2 or 3 seasons at $50 million. Since your dildo does want to hear the theory.
Apparently, they're reviving. They're creating like an AI, or they're like reviving like the name of the guy, the company. I forgot his name. I want to say Jeffers, but that's a different movie. But it's like they're all in there like creating him. Like they're like recreating this guy. Like when the code would make them feel afraid, that was like his fears. And like when you liked it, that was like his enjoyment. So like they're doing all this little code stuff to create like an AI version of this guy. That's why it's all kind of weirdly like they worship him inside of that place, because it's like I think they're recreating him, I think is the premise. And I was like, that's a cool concept.
I really need to watch that movie. Somebody spent so much, or that show, as someone who spent so much of my life in the corporate culture and how weird it is. And
it's good.
We're getting out of here real quick though. The another football reference, because Monday Night Football had on the second screen. The Rams just are basically about to lose to the Bengals.
Ooh,
onside kick. So both teams will be 1-3. Both teams or 1-2. I'm sorry, out of 3 games. So both teams who had a lot of high hopes coming into the season not looking good. Lions are 2-1. Jets are 1-2. So
yeah, I think Cleveland's a much better 1-3 than they like. I think they're better than their record.
Yeah.
Because Burrows is a good quarterback, but they didn't. Neither team. I was watching some of that game. Neither one of them looked very good.
Yeah.
Like Rams looked inept. They were getting fucking crushed. Stafford was getting sacked hard. Throwing picks. It wasn't a pretty looking game on either side of the ball.
Yeah. So there was some football here. All right, we'll get out of here. Sorry, New Bomb. Sucks you came late. Better late than never. I appreciate you being here though, and I appreciate everyone else being here. Appreciate obviously Matt doing this. So if you like the video, please like the video. If you're so obliged to share and subscribe, apparently Beagles D was feasting. Looks like what happened 16-19. You don't get those scores too much more often. But yeah, if you're so obliged to share and subscribe, because sharing is caring, especially with these streams. Please do so. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Good night and God bless. I'll talk to all you guys later. Peace.
Watch the MFR podcast tomorrow.
Yes, MFR tomorrow. Matt's channel.